Do you love a franchise that unfortunately sells like shit, which in turn makes the parent company hesitant to put out more games for it? Pikmin is that franchise for me. I personally view all three mainline games as highly replayable masterpieces in their own right, but they are only modest successes. In 20 years, we've gotten only 3 mainline Pikmin games from Nintendo, but not all hope is lost. This is where the fans come in. Of the admittedly few Pikmin 2 mods I've dabbled with, Pikmin 251 is possibly my favorite. It takes Pikmin 2 and cranks it up a notch. The mod makes the game longer, harder, more interesting, better balanced, more humorous. Let's dive right into PikHacker's masterpiece, Pikmin 251. The events of Pikmin 251 happen right after the events of Pikmin 2. We are treated to a humorous Gmod cutscene. The plot is basically Hokatate isn't dead again. Instead of 10,000 Pokos like last time, the debt is worth 20,000 Pokos. So the president makes Olimar and Louie go back to the distant planet again, this time making Louie the leader. The story beats are pretty similar to Pikmin 2. The captains land, but due to Louie's poor piloting, Olimar falls out of the ship. Louie finds 5 yellow Pikmin attacking a Bulblax, while Olimar finds the yellow onion. After getting enough yellow Pikmin, they can crush the paper bag that's in their way, carry back the pine cone, and take off. Before doing so, I decided to give my Pikmin some nectar. The nectar is weaker this time around, only giving leaf Pikmin buds instead of flowers. How interesting. I planned to play this solo until my brother saw me playing. He asked if he could play too, and guess what? He could! This mod supports full-on multiplayer, which is awesome, so we decided to explore the Wistful Wild together. Not before long, we found our first cave, titled Abandoned Toy Box. The caves overall work very similarly to as they did in Pikmin 2. There is no time limit, and the time of day freezes when underground. The point of caves is to find treasures and rack up those Pokos to pay off the debt. The first sub-level is pretty basic stuff. We run into a bunch of purple Bulblax and kill them all. The second sub-level is the last one, and it's a cool domino pattern for the boundary zones. The whimsical radar from the original Pikmin is tucked behind an explosive barrier that is deadly to the touch. So, how do we get this item? Well, there's an orange candy pop button on the sub-level that will turn Pikmin to orange Pikmin when thrown in. These Pikmin have hard shells and ignore explosives. The whimsical radar will unlock a new stage to explore. Unfortunately, the orange Pikmin need to stay underground because the ship can't carry these Pikmin. They are similar to Bulbman and Pikmin 2, so we hopped on the geyser, which shot us out of the cave. The ship convinces Louie to leave for the day to explore the new location. Like in Pikmin 2, the player will get a report every day detailing what treasures they brought back and what Pikmin perish. They also get emails like they did in Pikmin 2. It's time to move on to the Flooded Fields. The Flooded Fields is basically a reskinned and remixed perplexing pool. Right outside of the base is an asshole Mamuda that will plant Pikmin and turn them into leaves. Right above it is a cannon beetle that will try to flatten Pikmin from above. After dealing with these two pain in the asses, we discovered that bitter sprays now take 12 berries for 1 dose. After that, we picked up this awesome DK barrel and discovered red Pikmin. The ship notes that the red Pikmin seems stronger this time around, and now we can enter the Flaming Trench. As the name implies, there is a lot of fire in here, so bringing red Pikmin is pretty much a necessity. As it is the first cave in the game that doesn't feel like a tutorial, it is pretty basic stuff. Although now is a good time to bring up the new treasures. As the name of the mod implies, there are 251 or maybe 252 treasures. A lot of them are redone too, like I found this DS charger. Or is it a DSi charger? Either way, it's pretty neat, huh? As I said before, there will be plenty of fire enemies, so get ready to fight creatures such as the fiery Dweevil, fiery Bulblax, and have to destroy plenty of fire geysers. The cave is only 5 sub-levels and will end with a Snagrid fight. However, it's not quite the same as it was in Pikmin games. It's actually called the Burrowing Snarrow, and it's faster and tougher than the Burrowing Snagrid. After defeating the beasts, the player will earn a treasure that makes them immune to fire. With the new red Pikmin in tow, we headed back to the Wistful Wild to destroy that damn wall that had fire geysers crammed into it. After defeating these 3 giant Bulborbs and getting this Red Bull, we enter the Ivory Metalworks. As the name states, this cave has a metallic theme, and it's also where we find the white Pikmin. They seem mostly the same as they were in Pikmin 2, and they are still stuck to candy pop buds. This cave showcases their usefulness by having poisonous enemies, poisonous pipes, and hidden treasures. I also like how the theme switches to this outside theme, although I feel like it doesn't make too much sense. It'll switch right back to a metallic theme of floor later anyway. The beady long legs will show up on the final floor, which is sub-level 6. Fortunately, we have yellow Pikmin, so it's an absolute joke. Luckily for us, it dropped the treasure detector. If you played Pikmin 2, you know how valuable this thing is. With the white Pikmin we've just obtained, we can make this bridge, which simply leads to a lot of water. I guess we'll have to come back here when we have blue Pikmin. In the meantime, we got this pretzel, as well as an ultra spicy spray dose. Back to the Flooded Fields we go. Now we can break down this poisonous wall, get this half globe, which will let us go to a new area. My brother and I spotted a cave called the Wooden Fortress, so of course we needed to go down there. The first sub-level is good fun. The layout is a racetrack that features new bread bugs that are fast as ass. Almost lost a good few Pikmin here. These bread bugs are no joke. The next sub-level has a similar feel. There's a giant track around the level and bread bugs will go around the level taking all the treasures and dead bodies. The third sub-level has a cannon beetle shooting boulders down on you. On top of that, there are silver Bulborbs that can be a pain in the ass as well. I did what any self-respecting person would do and made the cannon beetle shoot the Bulbers to death. Sub-level 4 had Bulbearman, which made me sad because we brought a full squad in. I love Bulbin, man, they're so cute and creative. It's a rest floor for the most part, so there's not much to say here, other than the fact that you get the portal cube. Sub-level 5 is a casino-like level that has a Bulbair in it. Taking out a Bulbair without my trusty purple Pikmin always ends so poorly. My brother and I completely cheesed and went overboard by using both sprays. We powered up our Pikmin and froze the Bulbair. The next sub-level is just kinda there. It's another outside-themed level. But now we get to the boss. The boss fight is basically a giant bread bug boss fight, but on steroids. The giant bread bug, as well as the regular-sized ones, will try to drag all the treasures and dead bodies into their holes. I love the theme of the treasures being food, such as a donut, deviled ham, and a Krabby Patty from SpongeBob SquarePants the movie game. This sub-level will also give the player a larger whistle range. With all that done, on to Mystical Beach. The Mystical Beach is a remix of the Perplexing Pool, but instead of finding yellow Pikmin here, you find blue Pikmin. I accidentally killed one before I even knocked down the poisonous gate. God damn it! Now would be a good time to mention that the water is purple for some reason. I'm not sure why this happens. If I had to guess, it's probably because we're in multiplayer, because when I voted up the game in single player, the water was fine. Anyway, the water can be drained by destroying the seal that was tucked behind the electric gate. Destroying the seal revealed the cave. The cave is called the Subterranean Sands. This is a good time to mention that the soundtrack is just such a banger. It seems like PikHacker used tracks from other games, but used Pikmin 2's instruments and overall feel. The first couple of sub-levels here are pretty cool. The sand theme goes pretty far here, and with puddles all over the place, it makes sure that the new blue Pikmin get plenty of use. There's some decent enemy theming here too, with the sub-levels having aquatic creatures such as woollywogs, gum dumples, and hermit crawmads. Sub-level 4 is a couple of golden decorated cannon beetles as well as silver bulborbs. It's always fun abusing these guys' boulders and killing other enemies with them. Sub-level 5 has a pesky bread bug, as well as several woollywogs, as well as a toady bloister. One of the treasures on this sub-level is SpongeBob's house, so I gotta love it regardless. Sub-level 6 goes for a more metallic look and has a few fire enemies, such as the fiery Bulblax and the fiery Dweevil, but it all adds up to this. Sub-level 7. The segmented Cropster is no joke and can take out an entire army of Pikmin in no time flat. It will roll around on its shell and lock onto one of the captains. The trick is to lure it into a wall, which will cause it to flip over and reveal its weak side. However, as it hits the wall, boulders will drop from the sky. After taking a beating, it will eventually get up, doing a swipe attack. Any Pikmin caught in the swipe will automatically lose all their flowers, making them slow as shit. This can be very problematic and get many Pikmin flattened in the next cycle. If it wasn't for our super spicy spray, this would have ended much worse. Anyway, we get the Pluck-a-phone for beating it, which will allow us to whistle Pikmin sprouts to pluck them, instead of doing it manually. We move on to Arachnid Asylum, which pretty much just replaces Citadel of Spiders. Sub-level 1 is this annoying maze thing with creatures burrowing out of the ground to eat Pikmin. The sweet snitch bug is also an asshole in this game. It just never dies. Sub-level 2 has a fire theme, while Sub-level 3 has an electric theme. Sub-level 4 goes back to more of an aquatic theme with a cool Pokeball treasure. Sub-level 5 is filled with Dweevils and have a quicksand-like effect in the middle, so the boss here is actually kind of bizarre. If by chance PikHacker ever comes across this video, can I ask why the hell this Emperor's Bulblax reskin is shitting babies into a hole? Anyway, the procedure to defeat this boss is pretty much the same as in Pikmin 2. Throw Pikmin at it, avoid its rolling attack, rinse and repeat. The reward for this is the good old 5-man knapsack, which will let the captains lie down. This will prevent them from getting crushed, and will allow Pikmin to carry the captains. My brother and I decided not to waste any more time and open up the next cave, the Cryptic Kitchen. Sub-level 1 has poison, aquatic critters, and boulders flying down. But sub-level 2, this thing kicks it up a notch by throwing down fire geysers, bulborbs, and this decorated cannon beetle into the mix. It won't leave the plate that it's on, and the boulders that shoot out, they can be directed at enemies. Sub-level 3 of the giant bread bug who was holding a jar of Skippy peanut butter. It also has this Jiggy treasure, which is goddamn awesome because I love Banjo-Kazooie. Sub-level 4 is a rest floor, and it's a good way to get some flower Pikmin, as well as some sprays. Here we go. This is more of what I'm talking about. Sub-level 5 is a maze-like sub-level that is made out of cards. I like this because this is totally unique to Pikmin 251. What I mean by that is that it doesn't feel like a sub-level in Pikmin 2. There's a Bulbair though roam the sub-level, and it'll attract dwarf Bulbairs near it. Sub-level 6 will go back to the racetrack theme and have several enemies. Swooping Snix bugs, careening Dirigibugs, and bread bugs will invade the sub-level, and this will give the player a hard time. The final sub-level is 2 bread bugs, a few regular bread bugs, as well as some bulborbs. One of them will drop the eraser that'll grant the player electric immunity. We decided to grab this battle for Bikini Bottom Tiki with the rest of the day. We were thinking about going to the Submerged Castle, but we weren't sure how to access it yet, so we decided to head back to the flooded fields. We decided to go all the way to the back of the stage to see what caves are back there. Kind of like the Awakening would, we needed to build bridges on one of the mist poisons surrounding it. We eventually reached the steel catacombs and decided to jump in. Sub-level 1 is an orange candy pop bud, which we decided to use. This sub-level was also filled with fiery blowhogs, fiery geysers, and bomb rocks. Sub-level 2 brings out the poison, as well as the careening Dirigibugs. Sub-level 3 has some poisonous blowhogs, as well as a decorated cannon beetle that is sitting alone on a perch. It's a pretty basic decent cave so far. Sublevel 4 has a more aquatic theme to it, with gum dumples, hermit crawmads, wogpoles, and other creatures of the like. The next floor freshened things up a bit by bringing out the Gatling Groink. You know, that annoying asshole who will wander the entire sublevel and shoot at your Pikmin? That guy. I also like the gimmick of the bumbling snitch bugs hovering over the sides of the stage. For those that don't know, they like to pick up the captains and throw them down with some serious force. Sublevel 6 is a series of tight hallways that have water, gas pipes, and a burrowing snarrow, apparently. Wasn't really expecting that, and I lost a good few Pikmin here because of it. Maybe I should have seen this coming, but the next sublevel holds a pileated Snagrit, the main boss of the cave. With the spiderweb layout, I actually thought it was going to be Man-at-Legs, or another spider for a second. What makes this fight more infuriating is the fact that there are asshole swooping snitch bugs everywhere. They'll pick up your Pikmin and just throw them into the abyss. Luckily, it will drop the key, which will unlock challenge mode. After the cave, we decide to end the day. We started day 10 by grabbing the floppy disk, as well as killing the burrowing snarrow. It dropped a feather though, so that's pretty neat. With all the above ground treasures completed, it's time to jump into the Grubhog domain. As the name suggests, the first sublevel is a shitload of Bulborbs that we gotta kill. We collect this blue cup and go deeper. Sublevel 2 is all about the red Pikmin. Fiery blowhogs, geysers, and dweevils galore. It has only one treasure too, which is this clock. Sublevel 3 is a rest floor. It has a couple of white candy pop buds, as well as a queen candy pop bud. It also has some eggs to get flower Pikmin or sprays. Sublevel 4 is all about the yellow Pikmin, with the gray Bulborb thrown in there for good measure. Sublevel 5 is a fun gimmick where bomb rocks fall from the sky. It's always good fun to lure enemies into these and kill them. Some enemies are placed in the water, so blue Pikmin are a must here. Sublevel 6 is a snowy area that has a white candy pop bud. I can't pass up on an opportunity to get more white Pikmin. There's also a bread bug, hairy Bulborbs, fiery dweevils. It's a pretty basic affair. We also use a bitter spray here because we are pussies, damn it. I'm not fighting two hairy Bulborbs at once. Sublevel 7 is a Gatling Groink. I really do hate this thing. Luckily, we can use bomb rocks to make it easier. The sublevel has plenty of water and aquatic creatures, making sure that your blue Pikmin gets some use. There's also a Roblox treasure. I've never played Roblox, but I wanted to show it off. This ocarina is pretty cool too. Here we go, sublevel 8, the final sublevel, and we unlock the boys. Purple Pikmin are finally unlocked, and it makes sense that these guys are unlocked last. The ship will note that the purple Pikmin seem weaker this time around. It honestly makes sense. If you play Pikmin 2, you know how absurdly broken these guys are. Anyway, the boss is the Emperor Bulblax in all of its glory. It's been buffed a bit since Pikmin 2, but that doesn't mean that we did not murder it in just a couple of seconds with purple Pikmin. The treasure it drops let the captains run much faster. It's so fast that even white Pikmin with flowers have trouble keeping up. When my brother and I exited the cave, we got the notification that we had completed the debt. We are treated to another humorous Gmod cutscene. Louis takes off for home, but notices that he left Olimar behind. The credits roll, and we are now treated to my high scores. Man, we let a lot of Pikmin die. Like in Pikmin 2, we can go back to the planet to get the rest of the treasures. The president will now send Louis back with the ship as a playable character. As a nice nod to Pikmin 1, Louis will now have to use the SS Dolphin to get around, and it's also reflected on the map screen. Before checking on the new map, we decided to go to the Mystical Beach to wrap up that area. We decided to head right to the Submerged Castle, or should I call it the Palace of the Wraith. The first sublevel is filled with fire as well as Bulbearmen. The pair will only carry 5 instead of 10 this time around. They are pretty much required to complete this cave. There are also bomb rocks on the floor, which is really helpful because the fiery Bulblax is such a bitch. This sublevel also contains a Japanese disc of The Legend of Zelda Wind Waker. Sublevel 2 has a lot of poison as well as more Bulbearmen. There's also an antenna beetle. These guys are a pain because they mess with the treasure gauge. The sublevel also has a Super Mario Sunshine disc, as well as Diddy Kong's peanut pop gun. Sublevel 3 is filled with electricity and some cool treasures such as King Dedede's hammer and a Luigi's Mansion disc. My brother and I took too long and the water wraith dropped from the sky. Luckily for us, it dropped inside this pipe. It couldn't get out of there, so we were safe to complete the rest of the sublevel. Sublevel 4 is a pretty standard affair, but we took too long again, so the water wraith dropped. Some cool treasures include this tank, as well as a Pikmin 1 disc. Sublevel 5 is the final floor, with 3 purple candy pop bulbs front and center. There's also a substitute doll from the Pokemon series that is worth 251 Pokos, which is how many Pokemon there were in Gen 2. Nice! Johto is my favorite region, so I thought that was a nice touch. The fight with the Water Wraith is pretty similar to Pikmin 2. It feels like it has more health, and it's a bit harder to stun, but just don't take my word for it. It drops a light bulb, which will make the sublevels brighter. We then killed this greater spotted jellyfloat to get the final treasure in the Mystic Beach. It's time to clean up the Wistful Wild now. Apparently an Emperor Bulblax just appears here now? I fought it while my brother undug this potato. We drained the water, knocked down the electric fence, and entered the aquatic depths. As the name states, this cave will be filled with water and aquatic creatures. Sublevel 1 represents this perfectly. A fine sublevel and all, but it's pretty basic. Sublevel 2 will start the player on a stump that is surrounded by water. This purple water thing is very annoying for sublevels like this. Luckily it's not too bad, we just gotta kill some guys in the water and then run to the next sublevel. Sublevel 3 has a greater spotted jelly float that is holding a treasure. The other treasure comes from a giant-ass hermit crawman. Sublevel 4 is a lesser spotted jelly float, wellywogs, as well as shearwigs. Not much else to say here, but at least the next sublevel is a rest floor. Tons of R-marked spectralids going around and getting killed to get their sweet nectar. Seriously, we entered the sublevel with 0 ultra bitter sprays, and we left the sublevel with 6 of them. Sublevel 6 is a death trap. There are boulders and bomb rocks falling from the sky, decorated cannon beetles, and tons of woollywogs. If caution isn't taken here, you'll pay for it greatly. The boss of the cave is the Ranging Boister. The concept of the boss is actually pretty cool in single player. The Ranging Boister will target the captain that the player is currently being, so the player will have to swap between captains in order to hurt it. In multiplayer though, it will only target player 1. So while it was chasing me, my brother just destroyed the poor thing with little problems. It will drop a suit upgrade that will allow the captains to take more damage. Before the day ends, my brother and I dash to the gambler's den. We kick off with a cool machine that will give the player something if they throw a purple Pikmin onto the red buttons. One of them gives us a volatile Dweevil, a queen candy pop bun, and then a boulder. That's mostly it for the sublevel, though I must condemn the cool theming. I love how there are dominoes surrounding the area. Sublevel 2 have several ashtrays with decorated cannon beetles on them. Things can go very wrong if one isn't careful here. Throwing some poisonous pipes for good measure, I guess. You can also run out of bounds on this sublevel, which is very neat. Sublevel 3 is a rest sublevel, but it seems suspiciously early for one. Sublevel 4 makes up for it right away by just going nuts. Volatile Dweevils, careening Dirigibugs, fiery Blowhogs, and a Gatling Groink. It's all worth it because we find Mario's hat, which is worth 64 Pokos. Of course. Sublevel 5 is another maze-like level that is filled with electricity. Yellow Pikmin can call us over the cards, which is really cool. And it's how I got this Game Boy SP. We now get to the boss. It's a shame that this cave is so short. It has nice theming, it's actually pretty distinct from the rest of the caves. The Man at Legs is back in all of its metallic glory. I love how the boss arena is a giant roulette wheel. It seems mostly the same as in Pikmin 2. It will drop the Rocket Punch upgrade, which I was always a fan of. That means my brother and I are done with the Wistful Wild. There has been some spoilers so far, such as the whole Katata ship becoming playable, but if one wants to play the mod for themselves, I would really recommend leaving now. The final stage is a brand new stage by PikHacker, and I was floored when I saw it for the first time. Without further ado, let's enter the Foreboding Forest. We decided to build this bridge right after we landed. We also got attacked by the wandering bulbbear that terrorizes the area. We decided to grab this bolt, which requires 100 yellow Pikmin. I personally think this is a much better gimmick than the Doomsday apparatus because yellow Pikmin can be easily grown. After that, we made a dash to the water section of the stage to kill both the Woollywogs, as well as a Toady Boister. We tried to carry back this Clover, and the Pikmin fell through the ground and died. Well, that's unfortunate. Luckily, we were able to knock down the electrical fence by the end of the day. The next day, we grabbed our Pikmin and jumped into the perilous pipeline. Right off the bat, we were met with 2 lesser spotted jelly floats and a gum dumple. Further into the sublevel, we found this washer. And that's about it. Sublevel 2 is Mamutas, creeping flower guys, and has a neat garden-like theme with running water. The next sublevel is filled with flying bastards. The swimming snitchbugs is the most annoying enemies in the game, I swear. Careening Dirigibugs, bumbling snitchbugs, and anno beetles also occupy the area. We got the Franklin badge though, so that's pretty cool. Sublevel 4 is a rest level that is filled with eggs and iridescent glint beetles. Sublevel 5 is a maze-like sublevel that encourages the use of blue and white Pikmin because of the scattered water and poisonous pipes. A couple of burrowing Snaros appear here, but that's all I gotta really say. One of these bastards ate a purple Pikmin though, and that got me really sad. Sublevel 6 goes for a more aquatic theme again. You know, the basic enemies, woollywogs, and the like. We hit the final sublevel and it has the goddamn raging long legs. The thing stomps way faster than it did in Pikmin 2. We initially tried to kill it with purple Pikmin, but some of them got massacred. We restarted it because purple Pikmin are just simply too valuable. The second time we used red Pikmin because they are more expendable, as harsh as it is to say. Unfortunately, the items that give the player a gameplay boost have all been collected at this point. We got a cool money sack. If I had to guess, this may be from the older Mario Party games. You know when you get a clump of coins that'll come in a little bag? That's my guess anyway. With that cave done, we decided to search the overworld. We headed straight for this tree that spirals around. It gives off a similar feel to the tree that in Twilight River in Pikmin 3. There's some electrical traps on the way up, but that's about it. At the top, there's a beady long legs. It would have been neat if it had like a brand new enemy or something show up, but I know jack shit about modding games, so I'm not sure how feasible that would have been. Also up here is another cave behind the fiery geysers in it. When approaching it, the ship lets us know that it seems nearly bottomless. That doesn't matter, we hop in. Sublevel 1 starts out with a garden theme. Lots of weak enemies are littered throughout the sublevel, as well as poisonous pipes. The real star of the show is the Gatling Groink that is stationed on top of the pink pail. Sublevel 2 has more of an autumn theme. Lots of bumbling and swooping snitchbugs reside here, which are really annoying. At least we get a Fruity Pebbles box. Sub-level 3 has more of a snowy theme, and has bomb rocks everywhere. When the bomb rocks are lying on the ground like this, it usually means that an Emperor Bulblax is nearby. Here, we get to fight 2 of them. Only one is mandatory, but we may as well kill them both because they are easy as shit. Sub-level 4 is the Dweevil floor. Just kill them all with purple Pikmin. There is no reason not to. A beady Longlegs is also thrown in here for good measure. I like the toy box theme here too. This cave definitely lacks cohesion and is going for a different theme on each floor. The next sub-level is bulb orbs everywhere. There are sleeping ones, mini ones, a fiery Bulblax. Not much else to say, really. Sub-level 6 starts us out on a stump that is just surrounded by water. My brother ran off and punched all the enemies to death while it kept the Pikmin safe. The purple water here is really problematic because there are so many enemies that are hiding in the water. The treasures here are pretty cool. My favorite one is the Master Ball, which has a value of 386, which is how many Pokemon there are in Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald. Sub-level 7 has the captains fight the Bandit Legs, but it will start in the water, meaning that blue Pikmin are your best bet. Sub-level 8 is a rest floor that has 2 Bulblaxmen. God damn it, we already had 100 Pikmin, so we didn't get any babies from it. How sad. I think that Bulblaxmen are so cute and fascinating. Sub-level 9 goes for a sandy theme and has plenty of aquatic creatures. There's not much else to say about this one. Sub-level 10, though, starts out with a bang. A large bread bug and Bulborb come charging at us pretty quickly. We panicked and used the Ultra Bitter Spray to kill them both. We get Rob's head as an award. Fire geysers and enemies such as bread bugs, fiery blowhogs, and Bulborbs also fill out the rest of the sub-level. Sub-level 11 is a nice recreation of Sub-level 8 in Cavern of Chaos. There are 2 Gatling Groinks that survey the area, and there is also a shitload of Dwarf Bulborbs. Sub-level 12 is another rest sub-level, but at least we get Bulblaxmen this time. Only one, though, as an asshole Gatling Groink shot and killed the yellow Pikmin. There are also 2 purple Candy Pop buds, which is a godsend. Sub-level 13 is kind of an annoying maze-like thing that has enemies that abuse the fact that walls are everywhere. Careenings or Regibugs will try to blow up Pikmin through walls, Jelly Floats will try to suck up Pikmin while they are breaking the wall, and bumbling Stitchbugs are also thrown in there to distract the captains. Sub-level 14 is just brutal. We were almost done with it, until a boulder landed on our squad of purple Pikmin, killing 7 of them. Screw that bullshit, and we restart. On our second restart, some goddamn gum dumples were eating purple Pikmin through the wall. The rest of the sub-level is still pretty brutal. Water and electricity are everywhere, a toady Bloister as well as several anode beetles and woollywogs just survey the area. At least the treasures here were cool. The Nintendo 64 logo is a really neat one to see, as well as the question mark block from Super Mario. The final sub-level here will have 2 Emperor Bulblaxes as well as an Empress Bulblax that will shit out babies. If care is not taken here, things can get ugly real fast. Boulders will also fall from the sky, so extra caution will need to be taken if one brings a huge squad. The easy way to do this is to lure out the Emperor Bulblaxes and kill them one at a time. We now get this jack-o'-lantern and move on. Day 15 starts off with us heading toward the final 2 caves in the game. To do this, we have to break down this electrical fence while having this decorated cannon beetle drop boulders on us from above. After we break the grate down, we can finally kill this asshole. Too bad for us, another cannon beetle is nearby. After killing it, we decide to enter the pit of misfortune. That title isn't making me feel great. Sub-level 1 is a pretty basic ordeal, all things considered, all wrapped up in a nice domino theming. As the name of the cave states, there's some bullshit here in the form of bomb rocks and falling boulders. At least we get this ominous warning treasure. This is brilliant. Sub-level 2 has several decorated cannon beetles and ashtrays that will have no mercy on you. On top of that, careening Dirigibugs will also be a huge pain. At least orange Pikmin can be obtained here. Again, things can get bad if you slip up here. At least we got this McDonald's fries and a Maxim tomato. Sub-level 3 is a garden that is filled with creeping flower dudes, skitter leaves, as well as anode beetles. We grab the Lay's chips and get the hell out of there. Sub-level 4 is a mess. It is filled to the brim with bomb rocks and volatile Dweevils. There is also plenty of poison for good measure. Sub-level 5 is a couple of Gatling Groinks. Great. Bomb rocks and electricity are also found at the sub-levels, so getting the squad around here can be a huge pain. The 5 orange Pikmin that we grabbed earlier, they were a huge help here. Sub-level 6 is a rest floor with a bunch of unmarked Spectralids, but the problem is that they float over the damn edge. There is also Candy Pop Buds and abusable beetles that can help the player greatly. Sub-level 7 is all over the place. It has a fiery Bulblax that holds a giant-ass candle, some woollywogs, gum, dumples, and hermit Crawdads. Sub-level 8 drops a player right next to 2 Bulbarbs right away, with plenty of dwarves following them. Taking care of one is already a pain, so my brother distracted one while I killed the other. We got the Flood from Super Mario Sunshine here, so that's pretty cool. Sub-level 9 is also kind of a mess. There is no room to just sit and relax. Careening Dirigibugs are everywhere, as well as electrical circuits. Jelly Floats and Hermit Crawdads also reside here. Sub-level 10 has us rematch the segmented Cropster with 2 key differences here. The first one involves a puddle in the middle. This pressures the player to use blue Pikmin. To make matters worse, there is quicksand around the water, meaning that if Pikmin happen to fall in, they will surely get crushed. The segmented Cropster will crush them while they are drowning. We get the primitive skull for killing the beast, finally ending the cave. With the rest of the day, we decided to go up and unlock the last cave and get the rest of the above ground treasures. The cave is behind a black wall that has poisonous pipes inside of it, so it takes forever and only white Pikmin can attack it. Behind that is water that needs to be drained. After draining it, the ship will let us know that Olimar is trapped in here. So let's get into it. The cave's name is Doom Den, obviously named after the final cave in Pikmin 2, Dream Den. Sub-level 1 somewhat mirrored Dream Den's level 1. It has a garden theme and has poisonous pipes scattered throughout the sub-level. We also get the Super Smash Bros. Trophy stand, which is really cool. Sub-level 2 is Pain. There are Gatling Groinks, decorated cannon beetles, dwarf Bulblax, and cloaking Baronets. The racetrack sub-level has always fascinated me for some reason. There are some orange Pikmin here, and we decided to grab them. We also found a battery titled Reminiscent Token, which is a cute name. This is because this is the same battery that Olimar and Louie find at the beginning of Pikmin 2. Sub-level 3 is much worse than sub-level 2. Careening Dirigibugs, electrical circuits, poisonous blowhogs, and anode beetles are just everywhere. Of all things, we lost Pikmin because a careening Dirigibug shook them off the edge. How annoying. We also got a Smart Bomb and a Screw Attack. Sub-level 4 is filled to the brim with fire. Fiery Blowhogs, fiery Dweevils, Geysers, and a fiery Bulblax. We got a Golden Spatula from Battle for Bikini Bottom, so that's pretty cool. Sub-level 5 mixes water electricity. There's not much to say about this one. It's way more tame than some of the other sub-levels here. Sub-level 6 is also just brutal. Look at this shit. Woollywogs, Shearwigs, Jellyfloats, and bumbling Snitchbugs all come together in a single spot. At least we got a Joy-Con out of it, which is probably the worst controller ever. Between the fact that they drift, they disconnect all the time, are expensive as shit, or as comfortable as hell, I don't like the Joy-Cons, guys. Sub-level 7 takes place in a snowy maze-like sub-level that is just dominated by flying enemies. Swooping Snitchbugs, careening Dirigibugs, bumbling Snitchbugs, and puffy Blowhogs rule the sub-level. The purple Pikmin are lifesavers here. A single purple Pikmin will bring a flying enemy right to the ground. Now for a rest sub-level. We get Nectar, Ultra Spicy, and Bitter Sprays from the iridescent Flint and Glint beetles, as well as the Doodlebug. We are now running low on Ultra Bitter Sprays, so this was very convenient. Sub-level 9 is a stupid-ass metallic maze layout in the sky. This sub-level is a pure death trap with bombs falling from the sky. Careening Dirigibugs, poisonous pipes, Dweevils, as well as a Gatling Groink because, you know, why not? Luckily, we were able to grab this baby's head and get the hell out of there. Sub-level 10 is much more tame. There are some fiery geysers, bulborbs, fiery blowhogs, and some falling boulders. That's about it. It's a pretty tame sub-level and it almost feels out of place. Sub-level 11 is a bit more on the basic side. There are some pretty standard enemies, some water to ensure blue Pikmin get their use, but that's about it. Sub-level 12 has 3 giant bulborbs side by side. One of them is a hairy one is a silver one, and one is a colorful one. I also threw an orange Pikmin into a Queen Candy Pop Bud to get more Pikmin. However, only one blue seedling came out. The rest of them just died somehow. Sub-level 13 is the final sub-level, and it looks awfully familiar. That's because it's the impact site. Okay, this is genuinely cool. It even has a little black spot where Olimar crash lands. We head up the stump and see Olimar in the distance. The fight is against the Titan Dweevil again, but something was off right away. Olimar got a poison hit on me early, but I noticed my yellow Pikmin didn't get affected for some reason. Luckily, we knocked off the water pump first, because we don't want that attacking the other captain that is keeping the rest of the Pikmin safe. The Titan Dweevil landed some fire on me and my yellow Pikmin got poisoned. That's when I noticed. The hazards are flipped around. That's a pretty cool concept. That would explain why the yellow Pikmin survived the poison attack. The electricity attack started to drown the yellow Pikmin, which was almost a problem. Luckily, we were able to knock off every piece besides the poison one quickly. However, it took us forever to get the poison piece off. It took us like 6 minutes to finally take off that final piece. It's awkward trying to hit it because it attacks so low to the ground when it attacks. Like in Pikmin 2, when all the pieces come off, it has a final form where it's pretty much defenseless. We decided to use a bitter spray on it at the last second to get a lot more spray puddles. We collect Olimar, which the ship names Immortal Mastermind. All the other treasure names are cool too. For example, the water one is called the Scalding Pump, and that one is set the Pikmin on fire. With all the treasures collected, we beat Pikmin 251. We are treated to another Gmod cutscene, and that's that. Like in Pikmin 2, that's not all though. My brother and I took some time to look around the Piklopedia. PikHacker went through the effort of creating new entries for, I think, every single enemy? I'm not quite sure. Olimar talks about their behaviors while Louie talks about how to cook them. It looks like there are new entries for the treasures in the treasure hoard too. I love the amount of love and effort on display here. Challenge mode is back. PikHacker and the crew took the 30 challenge mode levels in Pikmin 2 and remixed them all. This shit is so much harder too. I was trying to see if my brother and I could get the perfect rating on all of these, but we suck too hard. If one can do this, they can unlock a cutscene titled Louie's Darker Secret. If this video wasn't so damn long already, I'd go through all these, but I gotta call it quits eventually. So it's clear that I love this mod a lot, and I appreciate all the work done by PikHacker and his team. There are a few things that bug me though. First is the water, man. Listen, I support Pikmin when I can, okay? I bought Pikmin 1 and 2 on the GameCube and the Wii, as well as their digital counterparts on the Wii U shop. I bought a digital and physical copy of Pikmin 3 on Wii U and on Switch. I even bought Hey Pikmin. I support Pikmin when I can, damn it, but I may have gotten this ISO for Pikmin 251 in a way, you know? I lead with that because this may be part of the reason for the problems below. This mod gives off incomplete vibes at times. The worst offender is the purple water easily, as that actually affects gameplay in a negative way. It can be a bitch killing enemies when you can't see them. Other things are much smaller. When completing a cave, some treasure names won't show up. After ending a day, the camera will usually get screwed up, and it'll give me a message about tweaking my dolphin settings, even though I already did that. Honestly though, that's about it. Obviously, if one doesn't like Pikmin 2, this won't convert them or anything. I can see the same complaints that people direct at Pikmin 2 to this mod. At times, the cave can feel repetitive and too long, the Pikmin balancing is much better for sure, but purple Pikmin still dominate, and the Ultra Bitter Spray is still ridiculously overpowered. If one is a fan of Pikmin 2 though, I'd go as far and label this as a must-play. It strikes a nice balance between a serious mod that enhances the original game, but still has several humorous moments that shouldn't be taken too seriously. I just want to give PikHacker and the rest of his crew a great job. When Nintendo was too busy neglecting one of their best franchises, the fans got us covered. You know what they say, fans do what Nintendo don't.